Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons video today they're making for Stefanie Sun as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen by Stefanie Sun titled Sky is Getting Dark. And we're going to listen through this track from start till finish. I'm going to hear what we think. Let's go. Just also saying that we have lyrics for this, so I'm going to play the lyrics for it so you guys can see the lyrics. Stefanie Sun has kindly provided a translation for me, so we'll check that out afterwards.
我的小时候，吵闹任性的时候，我的外婆总
I like the melancholy of the piano line with her vocals.
夏天的午后，牢牢的个安慰
By those sus chords.
那首歌好像这样唱的
A freeform flow to the vocals or the piano style. Sense of innocence to the vocal style, eh?
离开小时候，有了自己的生活，新鲜的歌，新鲜的念头，任性和冲动无法控制的时候，我忘记还有这样的歌。
Oh, articulation. A more freeform sort of flow here, getting rid of the restriction of the 4/4 there. I like the variation with the piano parts. Very unison between the vocals and the piano parts here, but rhythmically.
是否承认的世界背后总有残缺？我走在每天必须面对的分岔路，我怀念过去单纯美好的小幸福。爱总是让人哭，让人觉得不满足。天空很大，却看不清楚，好孤独。
Yeah, those sort of neoclassical elements here are wonderful. I kind of enjoy the fact that we only need the piano and the vocals to carry us through. Fantastic break here. Returning to the hook. I mean, like her vocal technique is stunning, and I like those little vibratos that we have there. You know, that kind of stuff there. It's wonderful. Her chest voice is confident. The extensions on top of the 4-chord progression as well on the piano due to the broken chords are fantastic. There's resolves there on that higher note on the right hand. Great. Dynamic range to this recording is stunning. Is that sky's getting dark, so dark, or something like that? I mean, it was a wonderfully captured performance from that sort of piano vocal perspective, the duo there. We've got lyrics here, as I mentioned before, from Stefanie Sun, so thank you to Ellen for those. But what is this track about, you know, outside of the wonderful piano and vocal bits? When I was a child, when I was noisy and unruly, and my grandmother would always sing to coax me, in the summer afternoons, Grandma's song would comfort me. I think the song goes like this. Leaving my childhood and having a life of my own. Fresh songs, fresh thoughts. When I can't control my impulses and whims, I forget there was a song like this. Ah, the sky is dark and the rain is falling. It's getting dark, it's getting dark. Yes, this is looking back in the past and wanting things to be simpler than they are now. It's a sort of a nostalgia for that, you know? Love always makes people cry and feel unsatisfied. The sky is so big, but I can't see it clearly, so lonely. Which is terribly sad, isn't it, you know? When it's dark, I think of that song again. Suddenly I look forward to the quiet rain. I realize my grandma had sung it to me a long time ago. I have to be brave and move forward even when it rains. I believe that everything will calm down. Yeah, okay, I think I get it. Because this is the conclusion of my review of this track, Sky is Getting Dark by Stefanie Sun. You know, what do I think this track's about? I think it's about someone who has fond memories of being a child and has realized as they're growing up that life gets really difficult and they miss the simplicity of that. And, you know, it's lonely being a kid because you have your family around you and stuff like that. It's a sad song, but it's also a necessary part of life, you know, is coming to terms with that and finding a way to cope. And I think that's the most difficult thing about being an adult, is that realizing that you can just be alone. And it's about trying to find meaning in that world outside of that feeling of being alone, you know. What are you going to do with that situation, you know? But I think that's a wonderful album, a wonderful sort of song from Stefanie Sun. I'm thankful to be listening to it. I'm clearly someone who has got a really sort of like wonderful way of expressing herself, very solid vocal technique there, comfortable in her head, chest voice, vibratos, legato passages, a variation of the different ways she expresses herself. The style of expression makes sense with the lyrics, you know, so that synergy and connection is there. Lots of variation with those vocal melodies, but not straying too far away from the core sort of sequences that are the ones that are memorable for the listener. We just had her as a solo vocalist for the entirety of the time, which kind of makes it more seem like a live take, and I kind of enjoy that because I think that when someone is talking about being alone, for them to be surrounded by people or like even the overdubs wouldn't make sense. So smart move there, you know? It sounds like someone is just playing, you know, piano alone by themselves. I think that the track at like 3 minutes 53, it's fantastic use of time. Like, for the track to be that engaging for that amount of time with just the vocals and the piano is exceptional. It's sensational stuff on behalf of Stefanie Sun. You know, clearly she's a talented vocalist, but also, you know, to be able to structure a track like that with the free-form flow of the variations of the slowdowns, of the ritardando of the you know, the piano parts at the end of each sort of stanza, slowing down and then going back into a regular pace there. It's fantastic. It seems like you're listening to a live take. It's so gorgeous. And the piano parts themselves, you know, starting with the chords at the beginning, keeping things relatively simplistic despite the fact that they get so completely kind of wild later on in regards to the skill like that. Those are some really tricky piano bits later on, you know, like it would not be easy to play. And if Stefanie Sun was also able to play the piano parts while singing, that's just incredibly impressive, you know. I'm really blown away by that. It takes a lot of dedication to an instrument to be able to play that level alone, and then for her to be able to sort of sing like that and tell stories on top of that, and be able to put those two together in a way that in regards to music theory and composition, which sounds palatable, is incredibly impressive, and I'm really stoked. There was a lovely sort of like sense of melancholy to the start of this track with the sus2 sort of intervals that we had there with the piano parts there. It didn't sound like we wanted to resolve there. There's a bit of ambivalence or a little bit of uncertainty. And I think as we went along and we kind of built upon it, we kind of communicated to the listener that there was more, like we were kind of trying to fly away from it. We were trying to get into the sky, even no matter how big it was. We were trying to see the sky, and we were trying to sort of like get to the sun and find a way out of the loneliness. You know, we were desperate to move away from that. That's the impression I got from the cascading or the ascending sort of piano parts and everything like that. And I really think that they nailed it. I think there was a tonal, melodic complexity to it that went between the two hands, as well as the unison rhythm-wise with the vocals. But I think she smashed it out of the park. And there was nothing here that didn't make sense to me. It made sense musically in regards to the story that was told. And when you have that unison and synergy between the vocals and the story and the piano parts, and you don't overcomplicate the composition, was not underplaying the song and leaving it sufficiently developed, you've got yourself a winner. So I can understand why this track has been listened to so many times, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It shows we can get away with just a piano and a singer. You don't need more than that unless you need it, if you know what I mean. The studio production, recording, mixing, and mastering, the performance being exceptional, there was not a note out of place. So the only real kind of last bastion, the final thing that makes this a great track, in my opinion, quote unquote, is whether it is recorded, mixed, and mastered correctly, and they smashed it out of the park here. Stefanie Sun's vocals were nicely recorded, filtered, and EQ'd, and it was a great raw take. Pianos were nicely filtered, EQ'd, and had a great sort of room resonance in there. They didn't overproduce it. Piano there with no weird resonant frequencies or anything like that. It was nice and wide in the stereo field because you had the stereo panning of the piano there, the left and right keys. Great use of double XY positions on those microphones. It was nice and loud without pumping. The mixing between the vocals and the piano was great. And that's a fit with dynamic range as well. It's a performance. It wasn't just loud all the time or quiet all the time. There were peaks and troughs and changes in energy levels that came through with the performance and made it seem more authentic. And this is effectively my review of Stefanie Sun's Sky is Getting Dark. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out our various social medias and a Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in this SP Patrons video. Spiderhands out.